My stepmom dumped me at a motel. When I was 16, threw me a trash bag and sneered. Survive like the worthless rat you are. Inside were only rusty cans and a broken lighter. I spent 3 weeks living behind the ice machine. 10 years later, she found me and sent a voice message. Please just tell me where you are. Baby, please. I'm your mother. I just laughed because she realized what I had done. I still remember the exact time. 4:37 p.m. on a Tuesday in November. The digital clock on the motel office was flickering, missing a few segments in the numbers. I remember because I stared at it while Lucy parked her Camry next to the ice machine, engine still running. This wasn't the first time she'd dragged me somewhere without explanation since Dad died 8 months before. But something felt different, the way she wouldn't look at me, the trash bag sitting in the back seat. Dad used to joke that Lucy was the best thing that ever happened to him after his divorce. Finally found someone who can put up with my sorry ass, he'd say, winking at me across the dinner table. I never liked her much, but I played along for him. Lucy turned off the radio mid-song, just stared ahead through the windshield at the vacancy sign with its burnt-out N. Neither of us had spoken the entire 40-minute drive. She finally looked at me, not in the eyes. Never in the eyes. I need you to get out, she told me just like that, like she was asking me to grab milk from the store. I didn't move. Thought it was some weird joke. Then she reached back, grabbed that black trash bag, and tossed it onto my lap. Heavy. Something inside smelled like metal. This is where you live now, she said. Survive like the worthless rat you are. After the funeral, Lucy changed. Started with small things. Moving my stuff to the smaller bedroom, accidentally throwing out photos of Mom, complaining to her friends on the phone about the burden of raising someone else's kid. I heard everything through the vents, thin walls. When I still didn't move, she leaned across me, pushed open my door, and started screaming. Like full-on psycho screaming about how she never wanted a stepson. How the house was hers now. How Dad's insurance money wasn't going to support a useless teenager. People were watching from their motel room. A guy smoking by the vending machine. No one did anything. I grabbed the bag and got out. Survival instinct, maybe. As soon as my feet hit the pavement, she peeled out. Actual rubber burning. The smell stuck in my nose for days after. Stood there for maybe 20 minutes. Just standing, brain completely offline, holding that trash bag and watching the road like she might drive back, laughing, saying it was all some messed up test. Room rates posted on the office door. $59.99 a night. I had exactly $743 in my pocket. November in Michigan, already getting dark. I opened the bag. 3 dented cans with no labels. A lighter with barely any fluid. A wrinkled t-shirt that smelled like the garage. A half-empty bottle of water. And a note. Your father should have done this years ago. That's when I realized I was truly on my own. First night behind the ice machine was the worst. Temperature dropped to maybe 40 degrees. The machine's compressor kicked on every 20 minutes or so, vibrating the cement wall. I was pressed against it. Only upside, the exhaust vent blew warm air. I tried to open one of the cans using a rock. Took an hour. Cut my hand. Inside was corn. Cold metallic tasting corn that I ate with my fingers while curled up in that t-shirt. Using the trash bag as a ground cover. Didn't cry. Too numb. By morning, I had a plan. Walk the 3 miles back to civilization. Find a phone. Call who? Mom had a new family in Arizona. Dad's parents were gone. Lucy had systematically isolated us from neighbors and Dad's old friends after he got sick. Junior year. History test tomorrow. Lucy standing in my doorway. Your father needs to go to the hospital. That worried look on her face actually seemed genuine. Crazy how well some people can fake human emotion. I walked to the gas station down the highway, asked to use their phone. The clerk, older guy with a mustache, looked me up and down. Dirty clothes, unwashed, eyes probably wild from lack of sleep. Sorry, kid. He told me. Phones for paying customers. Bought a 75-cent coffee with my remaining money. Called 911. Explained my situation to the dispatcher. 2 hours later, a cop showed up. Officer Reynolds looked tired. I told him everything. He made some calls. Turns out Lucy had already filed a report. Claimed I'd been out of control, threatened her, stolen money, run away. My word against hers, and she had all the paperwork: guardian, homeowner, grieving widow. Reynolds seemed skeptical, but told me there wasn't much he could do without proof. Suggested a youth shelter 30 miles away. Offered me a ride. I refused. Something inside me couldn't stand the thought of being institutionalized. Should have taken the ride. Day 3, behind the ice machine. Hunger becomes a physical pain. Not just in your stomach, in your head, behind your eyes. Makes it hard to think straight. That's when Raoul found me. Motel maintenance guy, 50-ish, missing 2 fingers on his left hand. He didn't say much at first, just looked at my pathetic setup. Trash bag, empty cans, the cardboard I'd scrounged from the dumpster. Disappeared for 15 minutes, came back with a sandwich wrapped in wax paper and a blanket that smelled like cigarettes. You can't stay here long term, he told me. Manager does room checks, calls the cops on homeless people. Not homeless, I said. Just in between. Raoul almost smiled. That's what we all say, kid. He showed me a better spot behind the laundry room. Steam pipes kept it warmer. Told me which dumpsters in the area got food thrown out that was still good, which wasn't charity, just survival information. Dad teaching me to fish when I was 9. Always have a skill nobody can take from you. Bobby. Education. Know that's yours forever. Wonder what he'd think seeing me dumpster diving behind a Chinese takeout place at midnight. Day 7. Got a system going. Wake up at 5 a.m. before the motel staff arrives. Use the hose behind the building to wash up. Walk to the gas station bathroom to brush my teeth with a finger and stolen packets of sugar. During the day, I'd hang at the public library. Warm, free internet. Librarians didn't ask questions as long as I was quiet and didn't smell too bad. Started researching foster care horror stories, mostly emancipation laws, complicated GED programs, possible resources for homeless teens limited. Raoul would sneak me leftovers from the vending machine guy, expired chips, dented soda cans, sometimes a real meal from his lunch. I started doing small jobs around the motel. When the manager wasn't looking up trash, sweeping the walkways would slip me $5 here and there, not enough to get ahead, just enough to not die. The rage built slowly. Not hot anger that makes you do stupid things. Cold anger, the kind that clarifies your mind, sharpens it. Every night, curled up in that blanket, I'd think about Lucy in my house. Sleeping in the bed she'd shared with Dad, spending his money, living the life I should have had. And for what? Because I reminded her he'd had a life before her. By week 3, I had almost $100 saved. Enough for a bus ticket somewhere, anywhere. That's when everything changed. Raoul came to my hiding spot at dawn. Face serious. Manager found your setup. He told me calling the cops in an hour. You need to go now. Gave me an ancient flip phone with $20 of prepaid minutes and all the cash in his wallet. $63. Told me his cousin in Detroit might have worked for me under the table. I tried to thank him. He cut me off. Just survive, kid. But remember, how you survive matters. Don't let her turn you into something you're not. 20 minutes later, I was on a bus heading east. Everything I owned in that same black trash bag. The symbolism wasn't lost on me. Dad's voice in my head. Last hunting trip before he got sick. Sometimes life deals you a shit hand. Bobby. Can't control that. Can only control how you play it. I made a promise to myself on that bus. Not just to survive, but to thrive. To build something from nothing. And someday, I'd make Lucy understand exactly what she'd thrown away. That was 10 years ago. I survived those 3 weeks behind that ice machine and much more after that. But 2 days ago, my phone lit up with a notification I never expected. A voice message from Lucy. Her voice was breaking as she begged. Please just tell me where you are. Baby, please. I'm your mother. If only she knew what I'd set in motion. Her voice message lasted exactly 47 seconds. I've listened to it 17 times now. Not because I missed her. God, no. But because there's something weirdly satisfying about hearing Lucy, the woman who tossed me away like yesterday's trash, sound so completely broken. Her voice cracking on baby like she had any right to use that word. The desperation when she said, "I'm your mother." The audacity. Dad's funeral. Lucy sobbing dramatically for the cameras while his actual friends stood awkwardly in the back. "He was my everything," she kept saying. Meanwhile, I couldn't even approach the casket because she'd positioned herself there like a guard dog, territorial in grief. That bus from the motel took me to Detroit. November 2015. 17 years old with less than $100 and Raoul's cousin's phone number scribbled on a napkin. Detroit in winter is a special kind of hell when you're broke. The wind comes off the river like it's personally pissed at you. I stayed in a youth shelter for 3 weeks. Place smelled like bleach and sadness. Shared a room with 4 other guys. One had knife scars across his face. Another talked to people who weren't there. But I had a bed, a shower, 3 meals that technically qualified as food. Raoul's cousin Miguel never called back. Number disconnected. December 9th, my first job, washing dishes at a diner where the manager didn't ask for ID. 10-hour shifts, hands constantly pruned and smelling like old eggs. $5 an hour cash under the table. Slept in the break room some nights when the shelter was full. Dad teaching me to fix the sink when I was 12. Always know the value of hard work, Bobby. Nobody can take that knowledge from you. His callous hands guiding mine on the wrench. But work smart, not just hard. That's the real secret. By spring, I had enough saved for a room in a house with 6 other guys. My space was literally a converted closet with a twin mattress on the floor. But it was mine. Had a door that locked, Wi-Fi password shared on a post-it in the kitchen. That's when I started digging. Public libraries are amazing when you've got nothing but time and determination. County records, property deeds, obituaries. Took 3 months to piece it together. Dad's will had left everything split between Lucy and me. The house, his savings, the life insurance. I was supposed to get a trust that would pay for college and give me access at 21. But Lucy had somehow filed paperwork showing I'd run away and was untraceable. Judge had declared me effectively abandoned. My inheritance. Every penny went to her. The house I grew up in, the one Dad spent 15 years paying off, sold 8 months after she dumped me. She pocketed over $200,000. When I found those documents online, I threw up in the library bathroom. Not from sadness, from pure unfiltered rage. Summer 2016, working 2 jobs, diner in the mornings, gas station at night. Got my GED between shifts. Scored high enough for a partial scholarship to community college. Made a friend, first real one since everything went down. Eli, computer science major. Gaming addict with insomnia who didn't mind hanging out at 3 a.m. when I got off work. He's the one who showed me how to really track people online. Lucy had moved to Florida, bought a condo, started calling herself a lifestyle coach on social media. Posted beach pics and motivational quotes about leaving toxicity behind and starting fresh. The absolute irony nearly broke my brain. Dad and me fishing at the lake. I'm maybe 14. "Bobby, you know what separates winners from losers?" he asked. "It's not being smarter or stronger. It's patience. Waiting for the right moment. Most people give up right before they would have succeeded. I waited, worked, studied, saved. By 2018, I had an associate's degree and enough knowledge of financial systems to understand exactly what I needed to do. Not for revenge. That's what I told myself. For justice. Found a roommate situation that wasn't terrible. Met a girl, Sarah. Accounting student, smart, funny, kept me grounded when I'd spiral into Lucy hatred at 2 a.m. We dated for 8 months before I told her everything. Expected her to think I was pathetic. Instead, she helped me set up my first investment account. Sarah and I didn't last. She got a job offer across the country. But the plan she helped me craft did. January 2020, I finally had enough saved to make my first real move. Found a guy named Terrence who specialized in buying distressed debt. Not exactly legal, not exactly illegal. Gray area. Lucy, it turned out, had a spending problem, 5 credit cards maxed out, condo mortgage underwater after a hurricane tanked property values, lifestyle coaching business failing because, shocker, she was actually terrible with people. Terrence helped me buy one of her smaller credit card debts for cents on the dollar, $3,000, meaningless in the grand scheme, but it was a start. I didn't contact her, didn't try to collect, just waited, let the interest grow, added it to my spreadsheet titled Rat Fund. Dad's voice always in the back of my head. The best revenge is success. Bobby. Live well. That drives people crazier than anything else you could do to them. But I wasn't that noble. Never claimed to be. 2021 to 2022 were grind years. Working remote data entry during the day, food delivery at night. The pandemic actually helped. Everyone wanted contactless everything. Tips were good if you were reliable. Made enough to expand the plan. Bought 2 more of Lucy's debts. Started a legitimate LLC with Sarah's help before she moved. Nothing flashy, just a corporate entity that could legally purchase properties and debts. Found Lucy's mortgage through a specialty broker. It was in pre-foreclosure. She'd missed 4 payments. The lender was motivated to sell to avoid the foreclosure process. Cost me nearly every penny I had saved for 7 years. Worth it. October 2023, Lucy started posting on social media about financial hardship and unfair banking practices, launched a fundraiser for herself, made exactly $87. The internet has a short memory for people who aren't actually interesting. I watched from afar as she sold her car, then her designer bags, then started doing spiritual cleaning services for cash. Meanwhile, I kept working, kept saving, kept acquiring pieces of her financial life without her knowing. The LLC now owned her mortgage, 2 credit card debts, and a personal loan she'd taken out to restart her business. All legal, all above board, just business. June 2024, the foreclosure finally went through, not because I pushed for it. I actually granted extensions when she asked the loan servicer, but because Lucy fundamentally couldn't manage money. The condo went up for auction. Nobody bid. Market was still recovering in that area. My LLC acquired it for less than half of what she'd paid originally. 1 week later, Lucy was served eviction papers. Not from me directly, from a property management company that handles these things. Standard procedure, nothing personal, except it was all of it. Every single bit. 3 days ago, the voice message. Please just tell me where you are, baby. Please, I'm your mother. She found my phone number through a mutual connection from Dad's old life. Someone who'd recognized me in a group photo posted online. Small world, social media, etc. I sat in my apartment. Nothing fancy, just a 1-bedroom with decent water pressure and windows that actually open and listen to her beg. The same woman who'd sneered worthless rat while throwing me away like garbage. Texted Eli. He tracked her location from the message metadata. She was staying at a motel, not the same one she'd abandoned me at. That would have been too perfect, but similar. Budget place off the interstate. I booked a flight for tomorrow, then called the motel and paid for her room for 1 more week anonymously. Not out of kindness, out of necessity. I need her to be there when I arrive. 10 years. 10 years of planning, working, waiting. Tomorrow, I'm going to walk into that motel. I'm going to knock on her door. And I'm going to hand her a black trash bag containing exactly what she gave me. 3 dented cans, a broken lighter, and a note. But I'm also bringing the paperwork. All of it. The mortgage documents, the credit card debts, the foreclosure papers, the eviction notice, the deed to her condo, all with my LLC's name on them. All with my signature at the bottom. I want her to know that the worthless rat she threw away didn't just survive. I dismantled her entire life, piece by piece, year by year. I'm not proud of the darkness I've carried, but tomorrow I finally get to set it down. Motel rooms smell the same everywhere. That specific blend of industrial cleaner, cigarettes, and desperation. Standing in the hallway outside room 118, I caught a whiff of it through the thin door and immediately time warped back to being 16. My hands weren't shaking. That surprised me. 10 years of planning, and my body was somehow calmer than my mind. 8:17 a.m. I'd been standing there for 6 minutes already. The black trash bag in my left hand, manila folder of documents in my right. Through the door, I could hear a morning talk show playing too loud. The kind where everyone fake laughs at nothing. I knocked 3 times. Sharp, deliberate. The TV volume dropped. Footsteps approached, hesitant, uneven. The security peephole darkened, then silence. 17 seconds of complete silence. When the door finally opened, it wasn't the dramatic movie moment I'd imagined. Lucy stood there in a faded t-shirt and sweatpants, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup, dark circles under her eyes. She looked ordinary, older, obviously tired. The Florida tan had faded to a dull yellowish tone that made her look vaguely ill. For a second, she didn't recognize me. Started to say something about housekeeping. Then she saw my eyes, Dad's eyes. Her hand went to her mouth. Not dramatically, more like she was trying to physically hold something inside. A sound, a scream, words. Dad's birthday, 3 months before he got sick. Lucy making a big show of the cake she'd bought. I know your favorite is carrot cake, she said, smiling for the photos. His favorite was German chocolate. Always had been. I knew it. She didn't. Small thing, but it stuck with me. Bobby, she finally managed to say. Her voice cracked on the second syllable. She stepped back. Automatic, instinctive, like prey sensing a predator. I didn't speak, just stood there. Let her take in the grown man I'd become. 6 feet, shoulders filled out, no longer the skinny teenager she could intimidate. The trash bag swung slightly at my side. Kani ukio? She asked, arms already moving forward, muscle memory of fake affection. I stepped back, subtle. Just enough. Her arms dropped, eyes flicked to the bag. Recognition dawned. The exact same type of black trash bag she'd thrown at me a decade ago. Her face did something complicated, like watching someone try to put on a mask that doesn't quite fit anymore. I knew you'd make it, she said. Always so resourceful, so smart, just like your father. Christmas morning. Dad still alive but sick. Lucy complaining about my attitude problem. While I opened the single gift she'd given me, a pack of socks. Meanwhile, her pile of presents from him took up half the living room. You should be grateful, she hissed when he went to the bathroom. Some kids get nothing. The motel room was depressingly familiar. Standard double beds, TV bolted to the dresser, coffee maker missing its cord. Lucy's belongings were neatly arranged. Designer makeup bag on the bathroom counter. Clothes hanging in the open closet. Phone charging next to a half-eaten protein bar. Signs of someone pretending this was temporary, just a setback, not rock bottom. I finally spoke. My voice sounded distant to my own. Rooms paid through next week, I told her. Her eyes widened. That was you? She asked. I nodded. Set the trash bag on the bed nearest to her. Unfolded the documents from my manila folder. Laid them out one by one on the other bed. Mortgage paperwork, credit card statements, foreclosure notice, eviction papers, property deed, all with my LLC's name, all with my signature. Lucy stared at them. Confusion, then disbelief, then slow dawning horror. You. She whispered. It was you. All. Of this, the foreclosure, the debts. I nodded again. She sat down heavily on the bed next to the trash bag, hand pressed to her chest like she was physically holding her heart in place. Why? She asked. Just why? I almost laughed. The absolute audacity of that question. Because you left me in a place just like this, I said. With nothing but trash. The day after the funeral, Lucy going through Dad's closet, tossing his clothes into donation bags. I asked to keep his fishing jacket, the one we'd worn on trips to the lake. She said no. Said she'd already promised it to someone. Found it a week later in the trash. By then it was stained with coffee grounds and garbage juice. Lucy's face cycled through emotion, shock, anger, fear. Finally settling on something that looked almost like calculation. I didn't have a choice, she said. Your father left us with so many debts, the medical bills. I was drowning. Lie. I'd seen the insurance statement, The paid-off mortgage, the retirement accounts. I didn't answer. Just tapped one finger on the paper showing Dad's life insurance payout. $350,000 deposited to her account 3 weeks before she abandoned me. She tried a different angle. You were so angry after he died, she said. Uncontrollable, breaking things, threatening me. I was scared for my safety. Another lie. I'd been quiet, withdrawn, grieving. The motel room felt smaller by the minute. Air conditioning rattling in the background. Ice machine humming outside the window. Full circle. Lucy's eyes darted between me and the door. Flight instinct kicking in. What do you want? She finally asked. Money. I don't have any. You made sure of that. I shook my head, picked up the trash bag, held it out to her. She didn't take it, just stared. Open it, I said. Her hands trembled as she reached for the bag, pulled it open, looked inside. 3 dented cans with no labels, a lighter with barely any fluid, a wrinkled half-empty bottle of water, and a note. She pulled out the note, read it aloud, voice hollow. Survive like the worthless rat you are. Her own words from 10 years ago. Something broke behind her eyes. The mask finally falling completely. I was wrong, she whispered. I know that now. I've paid for it every day. Please, we can fix this. We're family. Dad in the hospital. Final days. Morphine making him confused. Holding my hand weakly. Take care of each other. He mumbled. Promise me. Lucy nodding tearfully beside him. Me squeezing his hand. Both of us lying to a dying man. I gathered up my documents, straightened my jacket, looked around the motel room one last time. You have a week here, I told her. Paid in full. What happens after that is up to you. She stood, grabbed my arm, nails digging in. You can't just leave me here, she said. I have nowhere to go. No money, nothing. I gently removed her hand, looked her directly in the eyes for the first time. Now you know how it feels, I said. Her face crumpled. Not prettily. Real despair isn't photogenic. What am I supposed to do? She asked. How am I supposed to survive? I reached into my pocket, pulled out a small card, set it on the dresser next to the TV. Rules number, I said. The maintenance guy from the motel where you left me. He helped me when no one else would. Maybe he can help you, too. I didn't wait for her response. Just turned and walked out. Closed the door quietly behind me. No dramatic slam. No final words. Eli was waiting in the rental car outside, windows down, scrolling through his phone. Looked up when I approached. You good? He asked. I nodded, not trusting my voice yet. Worth it? He asked. I paused, considered the question seriously. The truth. It didn't feel like I expected. No triumph, no satisfaction, just emptiness, like lancing a wound that had been festering for years. Relief, but also awareness of the scar that would remain. Eli didn't push, just nodded, started the car. As we pulled away, I looked back at the motel. Lucy was standing in the doorway of room 118. Trash bag clutched to her chest, watching me leave, just like I'd watched her drive away 10 years ago. The symmetry should have felt perfect. It didn't. 3 days later, back in my apartment, normal life resumed. Dishes in the sink, bills to pay. Neighbor's dog barking through the wall at 6 a.m. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Thank you for Raoul's number. He's letting me clean rooms for cash, plus a place to stay. I know you don't owe me anything, but I'd like to talk someday. When you're ready, if you're ever ready. I set the phone down without responding. Opened my laptop, logged into my banking app. The LLC that owned Lucy's debts and property still existed. One mouse click and I could start foreclosure proceedings on the condo. Take the last thing she might potentially recover. My cursor hovered over the button. Dad's voice in my head. The measure of a man isn't how hard he can hit, Bobby. It's whether he can walk away when hitting feels good but isn't right. I closed the laptop without clicking. Went to make coffee. Maybe someday I'd respond to her text. Maybe not. The power was in the choice. In not being that desperate 16-year-old anymore. Lucy would rebuild her life somehow. Or she wouldn't. That wasn't my responsibility anymore. For 10 years, revenge had been my North Star, my purpose. Now I needed to figure out who Bobby was without it. The coffee machine beeped. Outside, the sun was rising. Another day, the rest of my life. For the first time in a decade, I felt light. Not happy exactly, just unburdened. Turns out revenge isn't a dish best served cold. It's best not served at all. But damn, it felt good to throw away the recipe.